Hi, everyone. My intervention is suggestion systems. What is a suggestion system? It's a process that gathers feedback from employees to improve the organization. In my research, ESS was useful as a search term, which means Employee Suggestion Scheme. Defines it as a feedback system that see employees as an asset with hidden abilities for creativity and innovation. They're used to help cultivate continuous organizational improvement and learning. And Kaizen, which is in one of our earliest modules when we were looking at different systems and models. Kaizen is the Japanese kind of a total commitment to improving quality. I don't know if it originated in Kaizen or if Kaizen is just the best example, our most famous example. So let's look at some of those. Toyota. So Toyota started, it's an example of Kaizen and of a suggestion system, started its employee suggestion system in 1951 and is still going strong. This was not necessarily the result of a suggestion system formally, but it's an example of how a lot of the creativity and innovation in an organization can come from employees. So Jeff Bezos' truth-telling company culture led to the idea for Amazon Prime. So that was suggested by an employee, and this article is about how the culture of the kind of like open culture of Amazon made it possible for an employee to make a suggestion like that in the first place. And here's an example of University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. One of their groundskeepers won a state award for the best suggestion. And here's another example of state workers in Washington that can win up to $10,000 for a good suggestion. And I saw examples of lots of states that offer employees, they have like a suggestion system, and they offer employees a percentage of the cost savings for a successful suggestion. So that was pretty kind of typical. Another thing I saw was that I didn't see examples of like small organizations using this. It was more like, state employees, universities, big organizations with lots of layers of employees. And so you can see why they might need a kind of like formal or structural way to get ideas from employees and have them kind of like follow a pipeline so they can be used and heard. So some root causes that an employee suggestion system might address. If you have a lack of employee agency or morale, having a system like this in place can help with that. If you got problems that are going unnoticed for a long time, employees are like, the employees are the place of contact, and they are, especially in a large organization, kind of like seeing everything where they're at. So things that can be missed at a kind of like bird's eye view can be seen and proposed and identified and dealt with at the employee contact point. If you have limited channels for employee feedback, low productivity, safety, quality, or efficiency, and also cost issues was kind of a huge one for the examples that I saw. Advantages: employee ideas can drive innovation and problem solving. It's effective when employees experience high levels of well-being and motivation. So I found this interesting article about, what motivates employees who have these systems to add suggestions in the first place. And employees who trust the organization are a lot more likely to make suggestions. Employees who do not trust the organization do not use the system because they don't trust the organization. Do they want to let go of a good idea? Do they trust that it will be treated as such, that they will be respected, that it won't just like fall into the ether? So it's really important that even though a system like this can help build employee morale, it can't create employee trust from the ground up necessarily, right? So there needs to be some kind of level of trust there. Should have leadership and management support. Limitations. So like I said, it can empower employees, but you have to establish trust first. Requires a systemic commitment involving feedback, a reward system, and employee involvement in the implementation. So it has all of these layers, and they need to be aligned with like the company vision, and employees need to be involved in designing those layers, and having some say in, well, what's the reward? What is a good incentive and a fair incentive, right? And what's the feedback process? So it's kind of labor intensive, requires a lot of commitment. So it's not just like putting up a suggestion box. And it also requires a willingness to involve employees in implementation and design. So if an organization doesn't trust its employees or doesn't want to empower them, it's not going to work. And it's also not necessary if there are already open channels of communication for ideas and feedback. And these are my main references. So thanks for watching my little video on suggestion systems.